There are a variety of different jobs in Final Fantasy XIV, all of which are available on a single character, meaning that you're likely going to be doing a lot of leveling, and the process can either be quick and easy, or slow and boring depending on how you choose to go about it. With that being said, here are some tips to help with your leveling endeavors. To get the most out of your leveling, there are a few things you need to know first, such as the fact that there are a variety of different ways to increase the amount of experience that you're able to get. The most notable of which is the armory bonus that will grant any job that is lower than your current highest level job an extra 100% increased experience gain until they are 10 levels before the max, at which point it drops to an extra 50%. Now generally you're always going to have the armory bonus when leveling alts, as the job you're taking through the MSQ should usually be your highest level. After the armory bonus we have rested experience. By logging off in an area that is considered a sanctuary such as a town, you'll start to accumulate rested experience, which, to not overcomplicate it, is basically just free experience that you get while not playing. So always try to log off in a town. Moving on to consumable EXP buffs, we have things like food, which grant a bonus 3%, and manuals, which grant a further 15. Now the bonus 3% is available from every food item in the game, so it's a really easy buff to come by. The manuals, on the other hand, are a bit more complicated. As to obtain them, you need to progress your squadrons to the point where they can run the third tier of missions. Alternatively, if you're part of a free company, they have access to the same buffs, and it's usually one of the ones people keep active. After consumables, we have experience boosting items, and while most of these tend to be pre-order bonuses for the various expansions, there are a couple items available in-game that grant increased experience gain. The first of which is the brand new ring, which gives you an extra 30% while under level 30 and can be obtained before your first dungeon by completing the Hall of Novice tutorials. The next item is the Bosnian earring, which will give you an extra 10% while leveling from 71 to 80 and can be obtained from the achievement Lost and Found 4 that you get for appraising 1000 forgotten fragments, which is actually pretty easy to do. And the last thing of note you should always be aware of before starting is actually one of your weekly tasks, the Wondrous Tales, as whenever you turn this in for the week, you are rewarded with half a level's worth of experience for whatever job you turn it in on. Now, before we actually start going over the leveling plan, there are a couple of things I want to mention. First, your main job that you're taking through the MSQ does not need extra experience. The MSQ is paced such that whatever job you take through it will be max level before the end, so outside maybe ARR, any other experience is kind of wasted on them. The second thing I want to mention is to do with crafters and gatherers. While leveling your battle jobs, you should make an effort to do your Grand Company turn-ins every day, ideally with high quality items, as it gives double experience. By doing this, by the time you get all your battle jobs to max, you'll also have your hand and land jobs close to max with little to no effort, especially since you can just buy the items off the market board. And with that being said, let's move on to the leveling plan. The first thing you're going to want to do is pick two jobs you want to level, a primary and a secondary. Once you've made this choice, you need to get both of them to level 16. The easiest way to do this is going to be doing their hunting log and class quests, and if there's still experience needed afterwards, you can even go into Palace of the Dead or just do some fates. Now that both jobs are able to do roulettes, your next goal is to get your primary job to level 50. You can do this by running your leveling roulette along with frontline once you hit 30. Something to note about frontline is the job you queue for is the one that gets the experience, so if you go in as a black mage then switch to a warrior, the black mage would still get the experience. Outside of roulettes, however, your go-to method is going to be spamming at level dungeons if you're tank/healer, or Palace of the Dead if you're DPS. Once you get your primary job to 50, we'll switch things up a bit, having your secondary job now do leveling and then later frontline when available, while having your primary job do MSQ trials and alliance raid. The reasons for this are 1, we level multiple jobs at once, and 2, getting jobs to 50 and unlocking all the roulettes for them makes the process of leveling the next job much easier, which is why when you get your secondary job to 50, you may want to switch it out for another so you can start getting multiple jobs ready to level. Either way, moving back to your primary job, once you reach the 50s, your only real method is going to be dungeon spam. So if you're a DPS, you're going to have to suffer through DPS queues or use the trust system, which will be slower than an actual party, but you don't have to wait for it. Once you make it to the 60s, things will go back to how they were in ARR, with tank/healers spamming more dungeons and the DPS spamming heaven on high. With the 70s, things are going to change a bit. As for starters, we can start using the Bosnian earring for the bonus 10%. And we have access to the pixies, which are a fantastic source of experience that you'll want to do every day that you have a job between 70 and 80. Also, tanks and healers actually have a choice for leveling this time around, as they can either go back to spamming dungeons, which on average is a bit faster, or they can join the DPS in Bosnia, where they can also farm various rewards while leveling. Now, unfortunately, once we reach 80, things will become a bit slower, as our armory bonus is going to drop to half, and we lose the 10% from the Bosnian earring. For this reason, we're going to stop here and move on to our secondary job, while using the elephants, who are the pixie equivalent for Endwalker, and our Wondrous Tales to finish off leveling our primary job. Of course, if you just want to go ahead and finish it off, then you can spam dungeons if you're a tank/healer, or go to Orthos for DPS, which will be the go-to method for this level range in Dawntrail. Either way, from this point, your secondary becomes your new primary, and you start the process over again, except this time it should be faster as you're not starting from scratch. And that is basically it. Hopefully you found this guide useful, and if you did, consider checking out one of my other guides, or if you want to see something different from me, consider checking out this video I made on Emmett Selk. With that being said, if you're still here, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.